That's right, gang. Somebody got a mic. And now, he ain't yelling into his phone, which, well, that'll help the audio quality, and, even more of a bonus, it won't freak out the cat. But sadly, there's still some yelling because I'm still waiting for the boom stand, and I'm waiting for a really long cable to be able to hook everything up. But the boom stand's supposed to be here today, and the cable, I think, is supposed to be here tomorrow. So it shouldn't take too long. By next week, you're going to get wonderfully sounding videos, at least as good as my voice can do. Before we really get started, by the way, I need help. My niece is into Bakugan, so I've been trying to learn what I can about the toys. Now, I know what those little duders are there, and I know what these guys are. I finally figured out what the true metal thing was, and the evolutions and all that. And I figured out what the ultra thing is. So what I want help with is there anything else you guys think that maybe I should know about the toy aspect? Forget the game right now. She's not into the game as much. She likes to play, but she's not in the card aspect. So it's more about the toys for her right now. If anybody has kids that are into Bakugan, or if you yourself are into Bakugan, just let me know, because I hate being lame Uncle Photo Dave that doesn't know things. Yeah, okay. Let's cue that intro. Well, hello there, gang. I'm Photo Dave, and this is Toypixx. And whether this is your first or 100th time on the channel, Toypixx is all about action figure photography. So, that means that I'm trying to help you get better, and I'm trying to help me get better. So I'll talk about action figures, I'll talk about photography, I'll talk about tips and tricks with photography, as well as Photoshop edits and tips and tricks. I'll talk about why I collect certain action figures, kind of some stuff that's going on in the action figure industry, all that kind of craziness. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and click subscribe. While I stand here and have to keep yelling into my phone. Oh, I can't wait till that's done. But today's video is going to be all about creating a horror image. Now, I'm not going to show you the total step-by-step when it comes to setting up and all that. I'm going to have it all set up already. I'm going to have some of the lighting set up, but then I'm going to show you what to do a little bit in Photoshop and what to do with a little more lighting to give your pictures this insane horror look. I don't do horror shots all that often, but I did do one with Carnage a few years ago. And today I'm going to do one with the Clown Prince of Crime, because let's face it, when it comes to horror, that's the guy. If you want a horror shot, you need yourself a Joker. So, let's get to it. Alright, gang, here I am behind the camera, so again, I'm not having to yell into the mic. Kinda nice. I used these Neewer lights. These are lights that I use in every shot. I love them. I will be testing out other lights eventually, but for now, these things really serve the purpose. There are blue or cyan gels inside each one because I find that color to be extra creepy, which is nice. This is a felt. Just a piece of felt. A felt? It's a felt now. It's just a piece of felt I have Joker on. And of course, since there is a cat here, there was a lint roller I had used to fix that all up. We've got Joker pieces. We've got stuff I found on Etsy and eBay in the background there. Pretty good stuff. That rocket there is from Super Action stuff, as is the crowbar. And we've got the ever-loving putty, because as good as I am when it comes to posing these things, standing them when you want to get crazy with the Joker is tricky. Now, speaking of the Joker, of course it's me, so that's the Mafix Joker from the Hush line. I love it. It gets as spindly as I feel the Joker should be. He should always look crazy, and that kind of means contorting his body a little bit, and I really love this figure because of that. So, now he's backlit with those kneewers, and I found the best way to really light up his face to give it that creepy horror type look is using my iPhone. So what you'll see here is a quick cutaway shot I took of the camera, so you could see how the setup is with the iPhone. The whole deal is it's just like talking around a campfire and telling ghost stories and whatever stories, scary stories. The idea there is you always put the flashlight underneath your chin to get the right look, the right creepy look. And so what I'm finding is the best light I have for getting that creepy look under the Joker's chin is the iPhone. So we're going to do that, and then after I shoot that, we're going to cut away, and you'll see what I'm doing in Photoshop. But real quick, I do want to bring up I'm going to be using my telephoto lens so that I can get everything in frame, kind of make the background look a little bigger, make sure Mr. J is totally visible. So, let's do this. So, I just did all this Photoshop work and realized I hadn't hit record the screen or screen recording on my QuickTime, so let's go back, let's reverse engineer this a little bit and show you what I did. Okay, this is the completed image. After, I think it looks pretty creepy. I think that Joker head sculpt for that Mafix Joker just looks, it lends itself to creepy. I think that's pretty sweet. So let's start from the bottom up. First off, all I did to give it this frame was I blew it up a little bit because I needed to remove the iPhone from the picture, obviously. So I just had to scale it up, then fit it within the frame. The Toypixx logo is always on my base file, so that's all I've done so far. Well, all I had done so far until I realized I wasn't recording the screen. Next, I put in a color fill layer that I used to really darken stuff up. This color fill layer was, what was the color? Okay, there's your hexadecimal. It is 1C, 1C, 1C. So that's what I used for the color fill. That was kind of nice, and all I did was I lowered the opacity. And in here, these sliders, what these do is make it so that it won't affect what's going on underneath in those areas. So like this is the light spot, right? So when I slide the light back and forth, that's just showing areas that I don't want that color adjustment layer to affect. So that's what happened there. That's why those sliders are on. And remember that adjustment layers are there so you're not actually working on your original file. Because if you were working on your original file and you screwed something up and didn't know till way too long in, where you couldn't go back and fix it with your history, but you'd done a bunch of other stuff, you'd be hosed. So that's why color adjustment layers exist. Next thing I did was I brought up some green from the bottom using a gradient layer. The green color is 66FF00. That's your hexadecimal color. And all I did there was I just did it to kind of give it a little bit of a gradient. It was really colorful at the bottom, didn't really want that, so that's why that happened. Next, I basically did the same thing, except, I did want to show you this gradient layer I had down really low. It's like 11%. And then next I added the gray gradient with the same gray I had earlier. That's also at 11%, just to darken it up a little more, just to make the darks a little creepier. Then we went with hue and saturation. I was losing kind of the color in the coat, and I wanted to make that adjustment, and I wanted to add a little bit of red. So that's why the hue and saturation adjustment layer went in, and if you've never played with that, well, I also changed the master saturation by going -15, but you go to reds, and you see I just used the saturation slider. I didn't do anything with the hue or the darkness, or lightness, and I moved that up to 24. And when it came to the blues, I moved that up to 50. Again, didn't do anything with the hue or the lightness. Next up, I went with levels. I wanted to bring those whites up a little more to just add that extra layer of creepiness. So I did that. Remember that levels are there to make the lights lighter and make the darks darker. So you just find that balance, and that's what I found with levels there. And then I just to make it a little less black, give it a little more of a cinematic feel, I added just a gray color fill layer. And the reason you do that is because pure black, that doesn't really do it for the whole cinematic feel. So you want to add a darker gray. I used lighten when it came to the layer style, because that way all it does is it affects the pure black stuff and the stuff that's darker than what this color is. So then that covers that. We've got the cinematic view, and then I thought, okay, that's looking good, but could use a little something else. So I added very little green to the edges. Not much. It's the same color as the green we used before, but that ended up being the image. And I think it sells that whole creepy aspect of good old Mr. J. And folks, that's all there is when it comes to creating a horror picture featuring good old Mr. J. As always, I'll leave product links in the video description below, and if you wouldn't mind clicking any of those Amazon product links, even if you have no intention of purchasing any of them, hey, maybe you need toilet paper. Use that link, get to toilet paper, make that stuff happen. I'm also going to put a surprise link in there that's just going to be some ridiculous thing I find. Man, speaking, not an easy thing. I find on Amazon. So, comment below. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know if this is going to help you kind of make your scary photos a little scarier, perhaps, a little darker, a little more frightening, a little more Mr. J-ish. And that's about all I got. So, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Share the video if it helped you out. And as always, have fun and happy snapping. See ya.